My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. Next up at UFC on ABC2, we have the rebooked 3 times William Knight versus Da-Ung Jung. So William Knight was supposed to fight Alonzo Menafield 2 different times in the last few months. He finally is out of his sort of COVID quarantine, and he now has Da-Ung Jung in a took 2 weeks to rebook this fight type matchup. Da-Ung Jung has probably the best jab in the division, and William Knight probably has the best cardio for a guy that size. This is a very interesting fight. He was a slight favorite / even against Alonzo Menafield, and he is now the slight underdog against Da-Ung Jung. So, Dan, what are your thoughts here? I'll go to you next, Nick, after Dan. I know you're very high on William, so let's get Dan, who picked against William Knight last time. What are your thoughts here?
I don't know. I don't think I can do it again this time. I think this is going to be a tough one to call. Originally looking at it, I thought Da-Ung Jung was going to win this fight. And then I started watching some tape. So Da-Ung Jung hasn't lost since 2016. He's 2-0-1 in the UFC. He's got some wins over Mike Rodriguez, Ibramigov. And then he's got a split draw against Sam Alvey, who's deceptively good and actually looked really good in that fight. He's a very good boxer, fast combos with power. He got clipped a couple times with Alvey's left, and he was having a hard time dealing with Alvey's kind of counter style striking. So I think he's a very good boxer, but he also has some potential holes there. The big factor in this fight, I think, is going to be, from what I saw with William Knight, is he's explosive as can be. He's jacked. He goes for takedowns, and when he gets on top, he has vicious ground and pound. And the takedowns are the biggest thing for me. He doesn't look like a great technical wrestler, but he's so strong. He finds ways to, like, big brother trip people and body lock them down, and just he figures out a way to get it to the ground. And in a couple of Jung's fights, he got taken down pretty easily. He did not look like he was there from a wrestling defense standpoint. So I think that could be a big factor in this fight. So it really depends how William Knight, approaches this fight in his game plan. Because I think if he tries to strike, he could land a big shot, but I think he'll get outboxed by Jung. But if he goes for wrestling the whole time and he's got the cardio that Nick talks about and just finds ways to be explosive and get it to the ground, I think he's going to win this fight and probably get on top and smash Jung a bit. So close one, but I'm going with William Knight, maybe by TKO in the second or third. I'm not putting him in my DraftKings lineup because I'm not too sure on it, but I think I got to pick Knight this time.
Well, and if you've seen our other William Knight breakdowns with the 2 Alonzo Menafield fights, we know that Nick knows him personally. Nick knows how phenomenal his cardio is. So, Nick, why don't you break down how you think this goes? I imagine you're going to pick William Knight, but do you think the cardio is the differentiator here, or is it just the actual, fight matchup?
The guy loves working out. Like, he will do like insane workouts the day before his fight. I think one time he was like bench pressing the day before weigh-ins, and I saw him at weigh-ins. I was like, dude, what were you doing bench pressing yesterday? He's like, that's my normal routine. He's like, I do that when I train. So why wouldn't I do it before a fight? I was like, hey man, do you? And then he actually beat Jorgen De Castro. That was the same day, same fight card as an amateur. So he's good. He's very good. I think technically boxing, Da-Ung Jung is a superior boxer. He has good diversity. He mixes in uppercuts well, and his striking is very good. But I feel like they're going to end up in a clinch. So they're going to be striking. They're going to get close. The way William throws, the way he throws, they're going to end up in a clinch situation. Will's going to make it dirty and just kind of wear him out throughout the rounds. Finish him in the third, if not the go to a decision. So I'm going with William Knight in this fight, and I don't have him in my lineup right now, but it could be a possibility because I'm just trying to think about how many points he's going to score. I do believe that he will win though.
Yeah, especially at $7,800. $7,800 is a nice number. Under that under $8,000 mark is you start to hit some value, especially if not only do you think you'll win, but you think there'll probably be a stoppage sort of later in the fight. So I think Da-Ung has some phenomenal, like his jab is phenomenal. His striking overall isn't phenomenal, but he does use his jab really well to keep distance. So I think William will be sort of competing with that. But Dan, and I'll go to you in a second, Jacob, but Dan, you mentioned Sam Alvey's sort of sneaky good, and you're probably right. I see that draw versus Sam Alvey, and I'm like, you got to draw with Sam Alvey? Like, if Sam Alvey,
dude, watch that fight. Sam Alvey is very good. He fought that fight.
Disrespect, man.
And he is good. It's just like it's.
I would never talk about a fighter like that. No
it's
way.
Such a bizarre, like sloppy style. And the way I took that is if Sam Alvey cracked him a few times and sort of rung his bell, I can't imagine what William Knight would do if he sort of made the same connection, but with his power and his speed. I don't see Da-Ung Jung winning this. He certainly can if he just jab and stays away and just be an incredibly boring fight. But I just think Nick is very high on Williams' cardio. And if that cardio is there, he can continue to push forward and can make it happen, where we saw Da-Ung completely gas out. He has cardio issues. And if you looked at this graphic and you said who has cardio issues, you would not pick Da-Ung, but he is the one who sort of has had cardio issues in the past. So Jacob, what are your thoughts here? I know you've become a giant William Knight fan. So what are your thoughts here and how do you think this goes?
Still looks good as ever. Still looks good as ever. This picture, I think the other ones he was on the left side. So now we see the other side of him. Now we've seen the whole package, and I got to say. So, yeah, I think actually Nick nailed his analysis on what William Knight needs to do in this fight. He needs to use a clinch, and he needs to make this dirty, and he needs to use his athleticism. I have in my notes, needs to make it dirty, use his balance, which is athleticism, in the clinch. Because if you watch Jung, when you're watching him, he doesn't look like a 13-2 fighter. He's kind of stiff. He's a very good boxer, but he doesn't look like a pure athlete until he hits you. And then when he hits people, that's when you realize that's why he's 13-2. So he's got power. William Knight's got to be careful. But I think that the athleticism of William Knight is just too much for Jung. He can get in, he can make it dirty, get the fight to the ground if he needs to. And I think he wins this fight.
Yeah,
Nick, question for Nick. Does he wrestle a good amount? Does he have any good wrestling training partners?
So in wrestling in Connecticut, he beat the guy that won state opens at double L's, but then didn't wrestle at state opens his senior year.
So for anybody not from Connecticut, essentially what he's saying is when he competed at wrestling in high school, he beat the number one kid in the entire state who won the singular best kid in the state, won that state championship, even though he himself didn't compete in that championship.
Yeah, I don't know why. Or maybe he did and he got injured, but he didn't he wasn't in the top 6, but he did beat the number one guy pretty convincingly. So he was a good high school wrestler.
Okay. So he's got, the Jung fight against Ibrahimov, dude, he got taken down so easily. I mean, he ended up winning the fight, I think, but or was that the draw? No, he won that fight, but it was through the third round, he got dragged down and ragdolled. So if Knight's in shape and has any sort of wrestling skills, I think he should be able to do that to Jung.
Honestly, William Knight's not in my – oh, no, he is. I'm looking at my lineup now. He is in my lineup. Good. Glad I did that. If he wasn't, I was about to add him in based off of this conversation. But he is in my lineup. Either way.
Here we go with Angelo.
It's in my lineup.
All right. That we all can see as you're changing it.
I'm looking at here. It has all the good picks. Right. So anyway, this will be a fun fight. We're looking forward to William Knight finally getting in there. We've tried to get him on the show, Nick. That's your job. But we'll wait till after his fight.
It's fight week. Wait
till after his fight. Anyway, this will be a fun one, and we're looking forward to it. Before you go, check out the description below. In there, we have links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and more importantly, to our DraftKings League. Check out the league, join the league, participate in the contests, and as we get going and as you start winning, we're going to start handing out gift cards and participating and doing things like that. So check those out. Every week, there are drops on every fight card. So make sure you check out this channel and our social media on Saturday before the fights start so that you have our most updated lineups and picks.